And we're
And
on.
and we're on. Have you
We are
noticed,
on.
Deval, by the way, just quickly, briefly,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
through all the World Cup matches, they do the
yeah.
countdown.
Is it?
They do a count. Well, they're showing the matches over here, and every single
Yeah.
one now, there's like a 5, 4,
I've
3,
not seen
2,
that.
1, and then they have like a
Ah,
massive countdown in the stadium. Oh, maybe
I've not
the
seen
coverage
that.
that we're getting.
I'll check it today. I'll check it
Yeah.
today.
All right. So, this is what episode
217.
Oh my gosh,
217. Take you
217,
to
Deval.
heaven. Hmm.
Gosh. All right, listen, folks, thanks for downloading this episode. And I'm addressing the one listener that we've got right now.
One listener.
I'm joking. No, we've got lots of listeners. But listener, thanks for downloading this episode
Yep.
217. And listen, we've got a really, really decent show for you. All our shows are all decent. But we've got a review of this new Netflix flick,
Yep.
Deval, which I kind of seen the trailers for it. And you know what? Where does Florence Pugh fit all this all in?
She's a busy girl. She's a busy girl. And I really wonder how she does it.
Now, if you've seen the movie, you'd know you'd get that joke.
Exactly.
All right, listen, look, we've got reviews, we've got movie news, we've got trailers, streaming, all that sort of stuff. But before any of that, we want to give you a big shout out. Who are we
Yep.
shouting out, Deval?
Big shout out goes to Ambi. Ambi Ujla. I used to call Ambi Ujla.
She's going to be cracking up when she hears this, by the way.
Ambi, big shout out to you. I know we were talking on Instagram. I know Ambi's been supporting us since day one. So Ambi
Since day one, long time,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, is a Flixter. And she loves movies. She was talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever recently, and that's a Wakanda Forever, Wakanda Forever
I was just going
recently.
to ignore that.
And I know she's looking forward to Avatar and all the rest of it. So I just thought we'd give Ambi a massive shout out and thank you for
Huge.
listening every single week. So there you go.
Brilliant. All right, let's get into the show, Deval. And let's do movie news. Well, we've got some interesting stuff going on over here. So listen, Deval, man, what's happening with the Blade movie? Like, is it happening? It's not happening. Directors are leaving, coming, going. Like, what's going on, man?
Well, yeah. So we heard a little while ago that there was I can't remember the first director's name. It's so much chop and change, but there was a director who was going to be directing the Mahershala Ali Blade, which is set to be in 2024. It's meant to come out. And then we heard that who's the Spider-Man Evil Dead guy again? What's his name?
Oh, Sam.
Director Sam Raimi was supposed to be supposed to be directing
Yep.
Blade, and now we understand that Jan Demange
What a name.
is supposed to be directing the Blade movie, and he is well known for directing Lovecraft Country, which is a
Yeah.
really, really
Decent.
crazy TV show that stars Jonathan Majors, as well as other brilliant actors. Really crazy. It's to do with all kinds of monsters and different dimensions, and
But
you know
set in the 60s, though, right?
exactly, it was set in the 60s, if not earlier, I think. But
Yeah.
people mention Lovecraftian type, films or shows. It's about that Lovecraftian type of horror that is very fantastical, like crazy creatures and crazy, situations and dimensions, and that could lend itself quite well to Blade. Blade obviously is going to be to do with vampires and monsters, and who knows, they might involve some other kind of multiverse in Blade. Obviously, Disney is very, very multiversal these days. So, this person, Jan Demange, he could be the best person to direct Blade. So we'll have to wait and see.
Do you reckon Kit Harington will turn up in Blade?
Do you know what he might do? Yeah, because we saw him at the end of what film was it now? Eternals.
Yep.
And I think Blade's voice actually came out to him in a sword. So he may do. Yeah, you could be right there.
Could they? Yeah, and then that kind of, because then we need an introduction to him, don't we? So we're going to get Blade. Obviously, it's going to be Blade movie, but we might get a kind of bit of a Kit Harington type of a thing going on in there as well. Who knows? Maybe to set him up. I'm still eagerly waiting that movie, Deval. I want that one to be really, really good. All right, let's move on to other news now. Winston Duke Uh, Now his career trajectory, he's done some interesting movies. And obviously people will know him from Wakanda Forever. You already mentioned Wakanda Forever and everything,
Yep.
but he's done other movies. Obviously, Us. Sorry,
Yep.
not Us.
Yeah, it was Us.
Was it Us?
He was in Us. Yeah, part
Yeah, he was
two
the
of
dad.
yeah, the dad.
Yeah, he
Second.
was the dad, and he was in this sci-fi movie which I really got to watch, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. So he's kind of branching out, doing lots of different things, and but people will know him from obviously Wakanda Forever. But listen, Winston Duke is going to be doing a biopic. Devour, let us know who and what.
Yeah, Winston Duke, like you mentioned, is seen him in Black Panther as M'Baku. You
Mm.
know, the one that tried to challenge Black Panther for the
And when he said, I love it when he says "Kukulkan."
exactly. He says it right. But
Yeah.
yes, this actor Winston Duke, who actually went to film school or drama school with Lupita Nyong'o,
Mm.
they're really good friends. So he's now going to be doing a biopic of none other than Marcus Garvey.
Wow,
Mm.
man, big shoes to
Marcus
fill there.
Garvey, big shoes. So some people don't know much about Marcus Garvey. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about
Mm.
him, but what I do know is that he was a Jamaican activist. He was very like people could say Afrocentric. He wanted
Yeah.
African people to thrive in the world. He wanted to actually, he wanted all African people, or all people from African descent, to
Yeah.
have a place, have their own land, and have their own, commerce, and have their own shipping and logistics, and have their own community. He was really trying to get that happening, bringing different people together. Caribbean people from the African continent,
Yeah.
Africans all over the world. He was really trying to do this, and this was in the early 1900s. So this person is a really like
Ahead of his time.
really ahead of his time. He created something called it was the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and that's
Mm.
the association that he used to bring all these people together. It had up to 11
What?
million members, and that's back in the early 1900s. So population is very different now, but doing it then with no social media, yeah,
Trust me.
no
Yeah.
mobile phone, no internet. I
Yeah.
mean, imagine if he was around now. Whew.
I know. And imagine
Exactly.
imagine like, because you're still talking about like colonial period, and then you're still sort
Yep.
of talking about
Yep.
like,
Yep. Yep.
where the white people were still like controlling things, like major things. They still are, but like
Civil
back then
rights
even
wasn't the
more.
thing then. There wasn't all these rights that we have now that people don't really understand the fight that it took to get these rights.
Yeah,
This is
man.
before that. He was born in 1887. He actually died in London in 1940. So was he
Wow.
even 60? I can't do the
Oh my
maths. I think
God.
he might have been less than 60 years old when he died. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is
It'll be a
oh
major film, man.
yeah. So basically, long story short, Winston Duke is going to play Marcus Garvey. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out. I think it is 2023.
Mm,
But we'll let you know more news when we find out.
exactly. All right, let's move on to this other piece. Um, Now, Deval, come on. It seems like every single company has got a day where they want to showcase all the stuff that's coming out on their channel. Obviously, we've got Disney D23, we've got Netflix, whatever. We
Mm.
have like DC Day, I'm pretty sure. But now there's a Paramount Day. What the hell? And
Mm.
yeah, so they've announced something pretty big, but this is actually a big money spinner for them, right?
Yeah, so we all saw A Quiet Place in
Mm.
2018, starring John Krasinski, written and directed by him, and also Emily Blunt, his real life wife. That was a massive hit. That I think it cost not even 80 million to make. I think it was even
Yeah.
40 million to make, or something like that. And
Wow.
it took over 300 million. It just took a lot of money. The sequel came out in 2020. I want to say 2021.
Yeah.
I want to say it. Should I say it? I'll say
Say it.
2021. I think it was. A Quiet Place 2, which took place, the timeline kind of was just after A Quiet Place 1, but it also took us before A Quiet Place 1, I should say, actually, and
Oh,
showed us what
yes.
happened when the
Yeah.
aliens actually arrived on Earth. Killian Murphy was in it, as well as Jumon Honsu.
Jim and Honsu. Yeah.
Yeah, so this A Quiet Place 3, which has now been announced by Paramount, is going to be a direct sequel to A Quiet Place 2, but there's also going to be another spin-off that's going to be happening, and that's going
Wow.
to be coming next year in 2023. So the spin-off 2023, and the Quiet Place 3 official movie 2024. So there's a
Yeah.
couple of big things coming out, but
And
you have to be
quiet about it. So they really want to make a kind of like a universe out of this thing. Like
yeah,
it's IP, isn't it? It's like it's
yeah,
almost like as if it's like shit. Like Disney have got this, and obviously Netflix have got this, and whatever.
hmm
We need to have something of our own. Paramount, they have the Star Trek universe, obviously,
yeah,
and all that stuff because that's pretty big. And I guess
yeah.
they probably want to add to that, right?
Yeah, they definitely want to add to it. And I think it is a good movie. Aliens come to Earth, they can't see,
Yeah.
but they can hear you really well. So people that have, really great hearing, they can maybe lead other people and stuff. I don't know.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. If it's done well, I think it could be
yeah.
another smash hit.
Yeah, defo. And listen, look, finally on movie news, folks, dare I say it, Bond, James
Mm.
Bond. But who is going to be the next Bond? Because as you know, listener, Daniel Craig, he kind of, he put the Walter PPK away. This is a massive spoiler. If you haven't seen the movie, he's basically gone. Like the
Mm.
Daniel Craig in the movie, he's gone, he's no more. But the character of 007, I'm pretty sure that's going to live on because someone else will take on the mantle. Now, Deval, who do you reckon, realistically speaking? We've had things like Idris Elba, we've had Tom Hardy, we've had Henry Cavill. Flipping out. I mean, even at some
Tom
point,
Hiddleston.
you were in the mix, weren't you? Like, like I'm pretty sure, like your name was put in there somewhere. But
Can you
who?
see
Tom
me?
Hiddleston?
Can you see me going undercover in Russia or blooming, or Poland or somewhere?
Oh
When I need to
gosh,
go and
man!
the silos from
Imagine that.
launching. They'd be like, here he is, there
There
he
he
is,
is.
there he is, there he is, there he is. Get him.
That's hilarious.
I'll be
That
like
could be.
me and Babangida will be like, just be running. I'll be like, it's him. Get Babangida. He's Bond.
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard Baba Gita in ages. But what's going on with
Oh,
James Bond? Are we because
yeah.
Amazon bought MGM? There's some sort of thing going on over there. They still haven't announced the who's going to play the new James Bond because that's going to be a big thing. But who do you reckon?
Mm.
What's the rumor mill saying?
Well, people are talking about Dan Stevens now, and you're
Mm,
thinking, who's Dan Stevens? If you've watched Downton Abbey, he was in it. If
which
you've
I
watched
haven't
The
seen.
Guest, yeah, and neither have I. He was in it between 2010 and 2012.
Right.
He was also in The Guest, which is a
Yeah.
really good movie that came
Good
out in
movie.
2014. Really good movie. He was
Yeah.
in Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
He's actually in Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities currently. He's
Oh,
in that. He was
he's a
also
good
in
actor.
Legion, really good actor, Legion,
Yeah.
which is a Marvel kind of
Which we saw.
actor, like a prequel to Professor X's life. But yeah, he's a very, very versatile actor, British actor, born in sort of in and around London. And I think, you know what, he could be a dark horse. He's also blonde,
Mm.
like Daniel Craig, so
Yeah.
maybe they want to continue that. But he could be a dark horse for Bond. Yeah.
Defo. And I'm pretty surprised he hasn't appeared in a Marvel movie because he's got that caliber. He could do. He's kind of Tom Hiddleston
Mm.
esque, isn't he?
Yeah, he could be the Sentry, who's also blonde. The Sentry that people are
Yeah.
talking about him popping up in the Thunderbolts. So,
Oh.
I mean, possibilities are there.
Yeah. Well, listen, good shout. I mean, Dan Stevens, if he gets Bond, um, I still would like them to go be a bit more adventurous and go with a I don't know left field. Like some people are still
Okay.
saying some people are still saying it could be female. It could be a female Bond.
Okay. No, I don't think so. I think Bond should be Bond. I even think he
Mm,
should be white. I don't think they should bring a black Bond. I think if
yeah,
I think that's just shoehorning someone into something you don't
into
have to.
something that is
It
don't
could
have to.
be
Yeah.
another character who can be, he can be that female or be that other ethnicity of another
Yeah.
character. Then to shoehorn it into Bond, just leave
Yeah,
Bond how
just
he is,
for the
man.
sake of it,
Yeah,
type of thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, listen, look, we'll keep you posted on that one. Let's move on to new on streaming. And listen, look, I didn't watch much this week, but the one thing that I did manage to fit in was Andor, the finale of Andor. And we spoke about this last week. Deval, obviously,
yeah.
he's caught up. And listen, listener, if you haven't been watching Andor, you should definitely check it out. It's this obviously in the Star Wars universe, but it's not your typical kind of Star Wars type of a show, or whatever. And it goes into different places, dark places, interesting places, and you pigeonhole it into one thing, but then you realize, shit,
Mm.
it's not this, it's that, and it's not that, it's something else. So the finale happened, and you know what, man, I really liked it. It was building up to one big kind of a standoff, let's say. And I guess we have to have a piece, Deval, in the Star Wars universe, which shows us how the rebellion begins.
Hmm.
And I think the way this ends is so it's the end of the beginning, if you know what I mean. So we see kind of like the fire burning, the sparks that are kind of like flying off, and then becomes the kind of rebellion. So Diego Luna, I think he's done really well in this. I think Disney have done really well. um Tony Gilroy, who's written it, he's kind of been the showrunner and everything. I thought it was really good. What did you make of it?
No, I agree. It's very different to your regular sort of Star Wars shows. It's
Mm,
about espionage. It's about the underdogs trying to topple
yeah,
the empire, the people in control. There's shades of real life situations here, and you hear
yeah,
about certain groups who are labeled as rebels or terrorists or whatever, and they're made out to be the baddies. This is what the Andal shows about those rebels or so-called terrorists who are doing things to try and get their freedom. It kind of is similar. It looks kind of similar actually. So it's interesting to see or to go under the hood of the rebels and see how they actually have to live
yeah.
and to
I like
fight
that expression.
just to
Yeah.
survive. So yeah, it's a good
What
show.
did you stay until the end of the credits?
Yes, and I love the end of the credits. It almost tricked me because I was forwarding it, and sometimes as you forward it, the little box comes up to watch something else, and I pressed it by mistake, and I had to go back to it, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, there's got to be something there. So,
Yeah, and
oh
there is a little bit of
yeah,
a teaser. So, and that kind
yes,
of puts it into context of where it is within the whole Star Wars universe. So it is
yes,
connected,
yes,
but it's
yes,
not
yes,
like, yeah, there's enough in there for you to think, oh, this is part of the Star Wars universe, but
yeah,
it's also separate to the Star Wars universe as well. So
yeah,
we are
yeah,
going to get a second season. So listen, take our word for it. Go out and watch it. Now, the other
yeah.
thing is, Deval, we mentioned this. I think we mentioned this on last week's episode. I got to say one thing, Deval. I started watching it, and you know what?
Mm.
I fell asleep. I I don't know what it was. It was just, it was my Odin's.
Uh,
Oh, the Odin sleep got me on this
Odin
one, right?
sleep.
The
Oh.
Odin sleep got me, and Emmanuel knows exactly what we're talking about over here. When
Mhm.
when the Odin sleep gets you, it gets you. But I started watching it, and yeah, man, maybe you'll give me a bit more context on this. This is
This is
1899.
1899. Yeah. So I mean, I'm surprised you was around in 1899. I'm surprised you haven't. You can't just tell us what happened. But
Touche, touche, mate, touche.
but 1899 is made by. It's a German show. It's like almost like a TV show of the Titanic, but if it was
Mm,
dark and a bit more suspenseful and supernatural perhaps. And yeah, you're right. It is very slow, and there's lots of there's, there's lots of moments where somebody just stands there and looks, and like some dramatic like look for nothing kind of thing. And but it's one of those shows you got to stick with. It is patient. I
yeah.
think I've watched 4 episodes or 3 episodes so
I,
far.
is it supernatural, or is it sci-fi? Like what? I'm
It's a
still
bit
trying to
of
figure
both,
out.
It's a bit of both, yeah. But it's a bit of both. This sort of thing can be wrapped up in about 4 episodes, but it's going to
Oh,
stretch. It's going to stretch to 8. They
right.
really they like to drag it out. These makers,
Yeah.
but it's a decent show so far. So I haven't got to the end, so I can't really say too much yet. But
Yeah.
so far, so good. This is on
All right.
Netflix. You can catch us very easily, and if you like this sort of thing, it should be for you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then you should, if you're watching this, you should have seen Dark, or you should watch
yeah,
Dark as well, which is by the same people. All right, Devout. Let's do what we're doing. Trailers. So
yeah.
listen, White Noise, Devout. I didn't see this, but White Noise. I'm pretty sure we've already had a film called White Noise before, haven't we? With
We have
Richard
with
Gere,
Michael Keaton. That was
Micah Keaton.
a horror film back in
Mm,
2005. So you got a good memory, yeah.
mm.
This one's White Noise. This one stars not Mini Driver, Adam Driver,
Oh right, okay, yeah, the
Adam
brother.
Driver. Oh, what?
No, no, I'm joking. No, he's
Oh,
not.
So Adam Driver's in this film. Greta Gerwig is in this film. Directed by Noah Baumbach,
Oh
Stick, Mr.
yes.
Shambastic, Baumbach.
Bombastic.
This film reminds me of, what was that film with Leonardo DiCaprio that came out last Christmas, and it was to do with the meteor strike. Was it Up? What was it called? Don't Look Up.
Oh, don't look
Don't Look
up.
Up.
So
Yeah,
what?
this is like,
Sci-fi?
this is about a a worldwide disaster that's about to happen.
Mm,
Worldwide disaster that's about to happen, and people don't seem to be taking it too serious. This is like a comedy satire on society, on humanity, and how they respond to disasters and things that they should really respond to in a better way. So
right.
this reminds me of Don't Look Up so much, so much. Adam Driver and his family are trying to navigate what's going on. They're trying to survive, and there's
Yeah.
something out there. I think it might be a. Let me see. Is it
Alien?
no, it's not. I think it's more like a contagion or
Oh,
something apocalyptic. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something apocalyptic that can end the world, and
yeah.
people are just going crazy.
And it's funny because that director and Adam Driver, they were in together in this zombie movie as well.
Oh, that was it. That film that I watched and I liked. The Dead
Yeah,
Don't Die. Was that the
that
one?
was it. That's the same director and Adam
Oh,
Driver.
okay. Oh, so yeah,
So
comedy. Yeah.
okay. Yes, I mean yeah, we'll watch, end of the world type of a scenario type of thing.
Yeah.
Um Before we move on to anniversary corner, I just want to quickly mention this, Deval. Um The Walking Dead has finished.
Oh, has it?
It's
Uh,
absolutely finished. And the funny thing is, right, we criticized it and we were like, gosh, The Walking Dead. And a lot of people are now saying that it ended on such a high
is it
that
okay?
the people who were saying like, oh, it was shit and everything and blah blah blah, they missed the whole point of it. So maybe
Mm.
we need to go back and maybe watch
I
a
need
few
to
more
revisit.
episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I stopped. I can't remember what season it was,
I
but I
know.
stopped halfway through. But I need to
Yeah,
finish it. You're right.
I
I do
know.
need to finish it.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we'll speak about that another time. But listen, let's do anniversary corner. And from 25 years ago, so 1997, listener, what were you doing 25 years ago? There was a movie called Underdog that came out. Deval, tell us about this.
Yeah, this is Underdog. So this came out in 2007.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, my mistake. 2007.
so 15 years ago then.
15 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
And this film was really low rated. It was 4.7 on IMDb. But it's about a dog who is imbued with superpowers by
Mm,
some sort of scientific mistake, some chemical, as it always happens,
yeah.
mostly in DC films, isn't it? And then he's no longer a regular dog. He's an underdog, but he's also got superpowers. He's got a cape, a bit like Jonathan Kent's dog. What's his name? Crypto.
Crypto, that was it. Yeah.
Crypto, yeah, I like a bit of crypto.
Crypto,
So
trust
a
me.
bit like a bit like that dog. So yeah, this stars Peter Dinklage. So yeah, Tyrion Lannister.
Tyrion Lannister, yeah.
Yeah, he's a doctor in the film. Also stars Amy Adams.
So Lois Lane.
Lois Lane. Yeah, so maybe that's
Wow.
where they cast her for Superman. They had the idea from that. Also stars James Belushi.
James
James.
Belushi. Wow, I
Yep.
haven't heard of that name in such a long time. But
James
yeah.
Belushi's in this film. So, yeah, so they're in the film. It's not a. I mean, come on now, dog with superpowers. It's not a great film, but it's a kids' film, and some kids' films don't need to be great. So
Mm,
that is what it is. So yeah, the
just enjoy
Underdog
it.
2007 is our anniversary corner film.
All right, brilliant. All right, listen, look, let's get into film reviews now. I'm eager to know what you thought of this, purely because you're going to be my eyes and ears on this. I actually didn't manage to see this, and you're probably thinking, "What? This is a Marvel, this is a Disney Plus thing." I just wasn't able to fit it in. So this is Guardians of the Galaxy, a holiday special, and so listen, just remind everyone again. So with the Guardians of the Galaxy, we're getting a part 3, but that's not coming out until another year, or is it
Mm.
2 years?
I think it's next year. I think it is
So
next
the
year,
end of
isn't it?
next year. It's got to be the end of next
Yeah,
year, though, right? It's
yeah, I
not
think
like as if
so.
it's
Yeah,
just around
yeah.
the corner.
No.
So, so obviously after Avengers Endgame, the Avengers, they kind of shattered, they're broken. Gamora, she's gone off, and they're probably going to try and find her and whatnot. And then we see a bit of the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor: Love and Thunder. They go off and they're doing something. So does this take place after Thor: Love and Thunder or before Thor: Love and Thunder?
This takes place after. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's after. It's not made
Okay.
clear. It's not made
All
clear
right.
to be
Okay.
honest, but I suspect it's after. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Okay. Well, then go on. Take it away, Deval.
Yeah, so this is written and directed by James Gunn. This is on Disney Plus, 45 minutes. So it's not a massively long film, even though it's classed as a film, I guess. And this is, yeah, this is Guardians of the Galaxy. And it is really focusing around Peter Quill, Star Lord, and the fact that he never had Christmas after he was taken from Earth back in
Mm.
1987. So back in 1987, he was taken from Earth, as it was explained in Guardians of the Galaxy Part One. And when he tried to recreate Christmas when he was with the Ravagers, they rejected him. One day, Yandu, remember Yandu with the blue
Yes,
face,
with the
and
blue face. Yep.
came in and saw him trying to do Christmas, and he just wrecked it and said, "We're not having Christmas here. We're Ravagers. Everything we get, we earn. We're not going to do gifts." So
That
he
sounds
wrecked it.
like him as well. That sounded
Yeah.
like him.
Well,
Check yeah. Yeah. Go
got
on.
my blue Yandu. And so yeah, so that's his sad moment from his
Yeah.
early years. So the rest of the Guardians recognize that he's sad and he needs something. So they say they're gonna do Christmas for him and they're gonna get him the best Christmas gift. What could that be? Kevin Bacon. So they're gonna go to
Is it?
Earth. Yes, it's mostly what's his name? Drax and Mantis. They're the
Yeah.
two that are mainly in it, and they go to Earth to kidnap Kevin Bacon. We've seen some of that in the trailers.
Yeah.
They take him to nowhere, and then they basically do Christmas for him. Kevin Bacon is reluctant at first, but I'm not going to spoil it totally. But he comes around,
Yeah.
and wants to help with making Christmas a better, making Christmas for Peter Quill.
Okay.
So yeah, there's all these shenanigans that happen. Obviously, in getting Kevin Bacon, they got to basically kidnap him, and
So
the
this is
police.
Kevin Bacon playing Kevin Bacon.
Yes, Kevin Bacon playing Kevin Bacon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go on.
Police get involved and have a little, standoff with the police. They take Kevin Bacon. Mantis uses her powers quite a lot in ways
Mm.
that I've never really seen. So that's a bit of an interesting thing that we see with Mantis.
Wow.
And then yeah, so they take him there and they have Christmas, and it's a feel good. There isn't really much. There's no like not many fights and stuff like that.
So
There are a
so
couple
it's
of
not it's not connecting up with the MCU then, is it? It's just kind of like a standalone
very
separate.
standalone, yeah.
Yeah.
In the box, very standalone. And it's a feel good. It's for kids. This one is very very kid friendly.
Right.
Groot has grown up a bit, so he's a bit more of a. I wouldn't. Before he was a teenager. Now I'd say he's in his 20s. He looks a bit more
Oh,
beefy. Yeah, he's a bit more beefy.
and it's
Cosmo,
still and it's still Vin Diesel, right?
yeah, but his voice is a bit deeper.
Right.
Cosmo, the space dog, is in it. Cosmo, the
Oh,
space dog that
yes.
the Russians took to space back in the day.
Yes.
He's got telekinesis powers, and we see it.
Wow.
And Cosmo, the space dog, is voiced by Maria Bakalova, and we saw her in Borat, the recent Borat film.
Yes.
She was the lady that was with Borat.
Yeah.
So
And
she's
I saw
starting
her recently she was in Bodies.
exactly, and she was in Bubble as well on Netflix. So she's coming through.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? She's coming through. But yeah, so this is it. This is a feel good little 45-minute, Guardians thing. And it very much feels like a TV show film.
You're right.
It doesn't as soon as you see it, it doesn't seem like a film because films have the sort of black borders. It doesn't have
Yeah.
that. So straight away it feels different. But yeah, that's what
Okay.
I can really say about it. It's fun. It's on Disney Plus. Watch it with your kids and and you'll be happy.
All right. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm gonna fit that one in. And that's just a one-off, right? So there's no more Guardian
One off.
stuff.
That's it.
That is
Yeah.
it. All right. All right, so that takes us nicely over to our hidden gems for you folks. So today we've got a hidden gem which you can find on Netflix, so you don't really have to go that far out to go and check this out.
Mm.
But so Deval watched this, and this is called The Wonder, and it stars Florence Pugh. And Deval and I, we were kind of talking about how she's popping up everywhere. She's, she's doing quite a bit. But yeah, Deval, take this away because this sounds interesting.
Yeah, this one is called The Wonder on Netflix, just like you said. And it's not often that we'll put hidden gems on the list that are from Netflix, because the whole
Mm,
point of a hidden gem is that something that is not sort of mass available, a film that you wouldn't really have heard of. This one you're probably going to stumble across,
yeah,
but you might not click it. And we're telling you to click it.
click it.
This is a decent film. Stars Florence Pugh, who we've seen in a bunch of things. We saw her in Black Widow, in with Marvel. We've seen her in The Falling. We've seen her in Marcella TV shows. We've seen her in Lady Macbeth. We've seen her in recently Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah,
She was in Hawkeye. She popped up there. We saw her in Midsummer, great horror film
yes,
by Ari Aster. Fighting with My Family. That was a sort of
the
wrestling
wrestling one.
film. Yeah, so she's very, very, very diverse. In this film, what this film's about is it's based or it's set back in the I want to say it's like 1860s, so the mid 19th century in Ireland,
Mm,
and this is after the potato thing that happened, the
the
potato
potato
famine.
famine. Yeah.
Yeah, so England was blamed for not supplying or helping Irish people with with food,
Mm,
and potato famine happened and lots of people died. I
yeah.
don't know the full history of it, but you can check out the history online if you want. So it was a time of quite turmoil. People were starving, and Florence Pugh plays an English nurse. She's sent to this Irish village where there's stories of a young girl who's about 15, 16, I think, and they're saying that she hasn't eaten. She has not eaten food
Mm,
in 4 months.
mm.
4 months.
So something supernatural, something
Mm,
devilish.
There you go. The
Oh
family are
gosh.
very religious family. She's very religious, and she's saying that God provides her everything. As we know, the human body can't survive without water. I think
For
for
3 days,
40,
is it?
yeah, about yeah, depending on your own
Yeah.
constituent
Yeah. Depending on your
constitution.
constipation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So about 3 days or so. I think without food, you can last longer, but as long as you're drinking water.
Yeah.
And in this film, she does drink water, so at least she is drinking, but she's just not
Right.
eating. So
Okay.
when Florence Pugh turns up, she hasn't eaten for 4 months. There's a committee in the Irish village made up of these seniors, and they say to her, "You got to watch her every single day." So they get Florence Pugh, who's a nurse, and they get this other lady who's a nun, and they both swap shifts. Every 8 hours, they go and watch
Mm.
her. They just watch her. That's it. Like Uwatu the Watcher. They just got to watch her, don't intervene.
What?
And she's like, people are finding out about her. So people are coming to visit her. The news wants to interview her, but they don't let the news interview her. And
Mm.
every day, like the family come there to pray with her, but she doesn't eat. All she does is drink. And Florence Pugh, she's a nurse, so she's thinking well-being. She's thinking
Mm.
there's something, this can't be right. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how religious
But
you
does she
are.
look okay though, or does she look ill?
She looks okay to start with. Bit by bit, she does deteriorate.
Oh.
I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but there
Okay.
is something that happens in the film where things change.
Mm.
Things do change, but it's very, very slow film. Very like the pace is just very slow, and you have
Yeah.
to. Yeah, but it's not
Give
a
it
long film. It's
time.
like an hour 40 minutes. It's not a long film, so it's not too
Yeah.
bad. But it's just interesting to see just how this person, doesn't eat food and they're still okay. They're
Yeah.
still okay. And the reasons why they say they're okay. And it's interesting seeing the nun's perspective and the nurse, because one's spiritual, one's science. When
Yes.
science and spirituality when they clash, you get a lot of
Sparks.
friction.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one is always gonna try and overdo the other. So in this one, you
Yeah.
get to see those battles, and the people that are the heads of the village, they are they're really strict. They say this is what's going to happen no matter what. Even if she dies, she dies. Exactly. It's like
Uh,
Dolph Lundgren as part of that village. You know what I mean? If she dies, she dies.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
honestly. So it's just a weird thing. And back in the day as well. So it's 1860. So
Yeah.
technology, medicine, things.
Medicine, it probably, yeah, they probably didn't know
Yeah.
much.
So it's just
Um, it sounds interesting.
it's interesting. It's an interesting film, man. It's an
Okay.
interesting film. 4 months she hadn't eaten, and she was watching her. I can't remember how long she watched her for, but that was more than 4 months. And it's just interesting when you get to the end of the film and you
Oh.
think to yourself, where were you? Like, did you believe it or did you not believe it? I'm not going to spoil it, but did you believe
Mm.
it or not? Like, you'll get to see for yourself where you might have sat,
Oh
and then
man.
the outcome is the outcome, and then you can think, oh shit, what would I have done? You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh man, sounds really good. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna
interesting
put that on the
film.
list. Um, yeah, go check that one out, folks. That's called The Wonder, and that's on Netflix, as Deval already
Yeah,
mentioned. And obviously, Guardians, you can check that out on Disney Plus. Listen, so it was kind of a bit of a short and sweet episode for you today, but
yeah.
fear not, we will be back again next week, bringing you loads more, uh, stuff on films and TV and movie reviews, etc., etc. So keep it
Mhm.
locked with the Flixters listener, and yeah, see you on the next one.
Yep. Peace out.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.